Yes, sir. Hello, sir. I have been learning Salesforce since 6 months. I have recently completed the Journey to Salesforce program and the Job Ready admin modules also. And also, I am Copado certified administrator and developer, and I'm looking to build my career in Salesforce stream.
Okay, that's great. And then journey to Salesforce, I think it was an excellent opportunity. So how did
Yes,
that
definitely.
go? I mean, your learning might have been definitely different with respect to
Sorry, I'm
Salesforce.
not able to understand.
Sorry, I mean your learning might have been a different path, right? From learn when you start with Salesforce, like the futures and other paths.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you, I mean, which specific cloud you were into? Was it a sales cloud, service cloud, or just the basics of Salesforce?
It was till now it's just basic of Salesforce. Actually, admin and developer basics.
Okay, so coming to developer very specific, so what are all the things that you have learned from a Salesforce development standpoint?
From developer, I have learned the Lightning app developments. I have read about triggers and Apex testing and the basic Apex data types and a little about Aura components.
Okay, so to relate yourself to Salesforce, I see you are a Capado certified, right?
Yes.
So where does Capado plays a role inside Salesforce?
Copado plays a role for deployment. Like it gives us a chance for easy deployment from one environment to another through the Git branching strategy, and it has a pipeline manager through which it can deploy the changes from one environment to the next one.
Okay, so why do you think that you need Capado for Salesforce deployment?
Because it provides us with easy to say like code analysis and many more functionalities. Like we don't have to do much, we just have to create a user story, a pull request, and our code. All the coordination between the first environment and the second environment is done by Copado. We don't have to worry about the things that could be wrong for coordination between these environments, and Copado just automate all the things.
Okay, so what are the type of development model that we have in Salesforce, where and in which development model that Capado comes in?
uh, no, I don't know this.
Okay, I'll give you that in the feedback part, but then why did I ask this question is the moment you put Capado there, that is the basic expectation that you'll get from a Salesforce interviewer. So that is where I'm
Okay.
going to. I'll give you the heads up where you'll have to little bit concentrate on the development model in Salesforce and then where does Capado falls there.
Okay.
So have you worked on triggers or
Not very much. Just in my project, I have used one trigger. I have made a project of institute management system, in which I have some course objects and student objects, and each course fees is predefined. So when a student select multiple courses while registering. So what my trigger does is my trigger maps the fees of the courses, and it auto populates the final price field and subtracts the discount part from this. Like I have different discount field, which can be, if it is more than 10%, then I have a valid approval process for this. And after the approval process, the final price field is populated through trigger.
so are you doing that via a before trigger or after trigger?
It is firstly before insert, and also it is on after update.
Okay, so have you encountered any issues like developing a trigger? Like,
No, actually, firstly, I tried to do this part through process builder, but in process builder, it was actually firing after the commit of the, that fields, after the fields are committed. So there was an execution order issue. That's why I needed to switch to triggers. And after the triggers part, my work is done very efficiently.
okay, so you told that there was an issue with the execution order. So what is an execution order in Salesforce?
Execution order is like for an object or for a criteria. If I have a process builder, I have a trigger, I have a workflow, then what should be the order of execution, like which should be come first, then the other should be executed. Like firstly workflows are executed, and if it is before trigger, so firstly at the foremost before trigger would be executed, then it comes to workflows and process builders.
So do you know what is the order that Salesforce runs all the Apex executions? Like there will be order, right?
Yes.
So do you know the order?
Order for what, like only through for Apex?
Yeah, I mean just the order of execution. Like you said, workflow fires first and then the process builder, right?
Right.
So do you know the order? So there is a order in Salesforce that how transactions happen.
I'm not able to get it. Like order would be this only, na? That the
So
firstly
there are
work.
like, yeah, uh, to the beginning it wouldn't be the workflow, so it would load the record and there are like 13 steps. That is how the order of execution runs.
Okay, I was not aware of this.
Okay, so you said that the, okay, since you said more specific to workflow and process builder and triggers, so which executes first, workflow or process builder or trigger?
If it is before trigger, then the trigger would be like executed first. Then there would be workflows, process builders, and then after triggers.
Okay, so you were up to the point. So there are like 22 steps in which the order of execution starts. So the before trigger is the fourth step, and then after triggers, validation rule and comes everywhere, everything. So one other suggestion over there is like uh, read a little bit about the order of execution. So you can just type in triggers and order of execution, and then you'll get a link
Yes.
to Salesforce Developer, and then just go through the order. You'll get much more sense. Why does I mean, why do you develop in that way, and why does that
Yes.
order
Yes.
happen?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, okay. So trigger, and then have you developed any Lightning components from a UI standpoint, like VF pages or Lightning components?
No, I haven't worked on it much.
Okay, so okay, have you worked on SOQL queries, SOQL or
Yes.
social queries?
Yes. Yes.
What's the difference between SOQL and social?
In Soccer, we can make a query only on one object, only on one S object, and in SOSL, we can get a query from different objects, different multiple objects,
Okay, so
and it returns Soccer returns a list of records, and SOSL returns a list of list.
okay, okay. What's the difference between a profile and a role?
Yes, profile is the permissions and the access given to a user. Like every user should have a profile. It is mandatory to have a profile, but it is not mandatory to have a role. Role also defines the access and the permissions, but role is not mandatory. And
Okay, so you
and
said role is not mandatory. So what is the use case of role?
like we have a generic profile which do not have certain permissions, but we can still assign a role to that person that would give him some more additional access and
Additional access
authorization.
of, like, let's say I have a profile. So when I assign that user a role, does he have access to create records, edit records, or what specific access a role define?
Mm, It depends on the role. It can be creation of records and updation, edit also.
Okay, so do you know role hierarchies?
Yes.
So what is a role hierarchy?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. So role hierarchy is a roles defined in a hierarchical manner. In the roles, we assign users. So,
Okay.
and also there is a option like grant access through hierarchy, in which any person who is above some level can access all the data of the persons below its own level.
Okay. So can you give an example of role hierarchy? Take an example of a
Yes,
company. Yeah.
yes. Also, I implemented it my in my project also. Like if a person is at CEO position, and then there are certain employees under him, like the teachers, and then there are certain employees under them also, like the counselors and receptionists. So if CEO wants to have access of all the records, whether any teacher created it, whether any receptionist created it, so the CEO can access all the records, and the people on same level, like any two different teachers, cannot have access to the records of their own level. So that is the use case.
Okay. If I were you, if someone asked me what is a role, then I would say that a role defined us to increase the data visibility of a particular user.
Okay.
So it's very, you said that they'll have additional access, right? So additional access is the visibility of data. So if I'm a CEO, I should be able to see all the data in my org, right? And then
Right,
if
right.
I am a teacher, I'll have very specific access to the data. I wouldn't be able to see all the data.
Yes.
So the hierarchy is where you define the visibility of data. They wouldn't have any other access rather than they'll just have the visibility to the data.
Okay, okay.
And then the creation, edit, or deletion part comes in your profile level, where you'll define the access of that particular profile, what the profile can do, whether they can create records, edit records, or delete record. All those access will be defined at the profile level, wherein your data visibility will be defined at the role level.
Role level. Yes, yes, I got it.
Okay. What else have you implemented?
Asynchronous Apex.
Okay, so what is the asynchronous process in Salesforce and why do you need it?
Asynchronous process is when we don't have to use for the process to be completed. It would get completed whenever the resources would be available. And also we get some higher governor limits for particular operations through um, asynchronous epics. And asynchronous epics is particularly divided into four parts, like it is queuable, batch epics, future, and schedulable.
Okay,
And in my project, I implemented it like I'm having a nightly schedule of backup of all the opportunities, and I'm getting a CSV file generated at my email.
so it's a scheduled Apex, right? So,
Yes.
how are you generating a CSV file for taking a backup?
Like I'm querying all the opportunities, like a name and stage name of the opportunities. I'm binding them in a string with comma separated strings, and I'm generating a CSV file. And then through a email handler, I'm getting the uh, generated CSV file onto my email through the scheduled Apex.
So, were you using scheduled Apex with a batch class or how is it done?
Sorry.
Were you using a batch class for querying records or it was just a scheduled Apex, normal Apex class?
It was just scheduled Apex because I didn't had so many records for now, so I
Okay.
just did it like that.
So, when do you use a batch class then?
A batch class is used when in one transaction we can have multiple records. So it is more used when we have large number of records. So per transaction, we can have like batches. If we have a transaction of say 1,000 records, then batches of 200 records will be going to execute.
Okay, do you know the limit of number of records that can be processed via a batch?
I'm not sure. It was 200, I guess.
No, like the total number of records that you can process via a batch.
50,000.
Is it
I'm not
50,000 or more than that?
sure.
So,
I'm not sure about this.
okay, so let's say when you're preparing for an interview that's too very specific for Salesforce, just make sure that you're very sure about the numbers. Like, let's say, what is the
Yes,
limitation for
governor limits and
governor
all.
limit? So, what is a governor limit?
Like because it is a multi-tenant architecture, everyone is provided with some limited amount of resources. We cannot overuse the resources, so that are the governor limits put on every transaction, that in a certain transaction we can have only such number of records.
So, do you know for a synchronous process how many SOQL queries that will be issued for a governor limit?
In synchronous,
Yeah,
it was 100,
and for asynchronous,
200.
okay, that's good. And if I need to increase my, can I increase my governor limits?
um in the I guess we can increase it using the asynchronous apex, and also by paid versions, and the like big organizations who are having paid license of the Salesforce.
Okay, that's good to know. And do you know the CPU time, or have you heard what is the CPU time in a Salesforce transaction?
No, I haven't heard about it.
Okay. And do you know what is a audit trail?
Ordered trail.
Yeah, audit trail.
No, I haven't heard of it also.
Okay, no problem at all. So have you known any collections in Salesforce or which you are using in Apex?
Yes, collections, like there are collections, lists, and maps and sets, which are used to group some records or objects or whatever we want to store, like multiple objects.
Okay, which is the efficient way to store the records?
It depends on the use case. Like we can do it by list also. A list would be ordered. If we want a sequential storage, then we would use list. We can use set also, but it would not be ordered, and but it has one benefit, that it would not allow duplicate entries into it. And if we want to map like one ID to the record and any value to something, then we can use map.
Okay. And for your trigger, what did you use?
I used map.
Why didn't you use lists in that case?
Because I wanted my course to fees map. Like my course is coming, and I have to fetch the fees also, and I wanted to map it with this ID. That's why I used the map.
Okay, and what are the types of trigger do you know?
Types of trigger, like before triggers, after triggers. It is before insert, before update, after insert, after update, before delete, after delete, and after undelete. 7 types.
There are the custom actions, right?
Yes. So, were you asking about the like
Events
context
that
variables,
are, yeah, trigger
new
events.
and
No, whatever you were saying, like before insert, before update, that was the trigger events, right?
yes, yes.
So, do you know what is a context variable is?
Context variables are the variables used in trigger that gives us some information about the trigger. Like if I say is update, is insert, so it gives us a true or false value. And also the new map, old map. These also are the context variables that gives us some value regarding the triggers.
Okay, what is the difference between new and new map?
New gets us the record of all the newly created records. like whatever the changes has been made by the trigger. And new map is a map by the ID and the records, like ID is mapped to the newly created records.
So is new a list or a map?
New is a list.
Okay, that's good to know. And so you worked on triggers, approval process. So can you tell me why do you need a approval process?
Approval processes, if any user uh, created a record and we want to approve it by any other user, like if we can have this much like a record with the value this, so it has some approval and rejection actions, which if the approver approves, so these actions will take place, and if it is rejected, then other actions will take place.
So let's
So
say I have a record and then my manager rejected that specific record. So can I reinitiate the process again for approval?
yes, you can.
Okay. Have you worked on reports?
Yes.
So can you tell me why do you need a report in Salesforce?
Yes, report is basically to answer some questions. Like in reports, we get some particular records and columns in one place so that we can uh, recognize that what data is going how much. Like, for example, if we want to have the employees whose salary is having bonus 20% or other things like this. So we can represent our data by some filters and the fields required.
Okay. Yeah, I think I am done with my questions. So I'll start my feedback. So
Yes.
overall, you were kind of good with what you do. So yeah, I you did very well in triggers. So one other
Okay.
thing I would suggest is, let's say there are development models in Salesforce. So what are the ways to deploy changes in Salesforce? Do you know that?
Uh,
What
no,
are
I
the
just know about.
tools? Okay, what are the tools? Very specifically, look after the tools that you use for deploying changes from one environment to other environment in Salesforce.
Okay.
So I think one was ChangeSet, other one was Ant, which comes under Apache, and then the third one was Salesforce DX.
Okay.
So
Yes, I haven't read about these.
okay, so try to look after the tools. Why am I trying to push this specific topics? Is you have done your Capado.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Capado is a tool that is used for deploying your changes, and then these are the other tools that are available for free. So
Yes.
Capado
Yes.
is a paid version. So look after the tools that you use for deploying your changes. That was number one. And
Okay.
then what are the development models in Salesforce? So if you go to Trailhead and then search for development model, there will be source-based development, package-based development, and then where Capado falls under is a source-based development model. What is a source-based development model is whenever you try to push your changes, you have Git and then Git tracks all your changes.
Yes.
So the type of development model matters because since it is Capado, the obvious question will be where does Capado falls under these different models?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
And be very specific. Like if you're taking an interview, there are two important things that you'll have to look after. The first one is the order of execution
Okay.
because that really matters. That is how your basic understanding of Salesforce kind of plays a role over there. So
Okay.
initial time it will be a little hard to understand everything, but then if you read after, let's say, now you know before triggers and after triggers, and then there would be similar thing with respect to workflow. Like you have assignment rule, auto response rule, which you might not be aware of, but then search for what is an assignment rule in Salesforce. So if you don't
Yes.
understand
That I
anything
have
in
read of. Yes.
so yeah, if you read out through the order of execution, that kinds of lift you up in a profile.
Yes. Yes. Surely I will do.
And then be specific about the numbers in governor limits because that gives you a very basic understanding of Apex.
Okay.
And I would say since you have very specifically mentioned HTML, CSS, so have you worked on JavaScript?
No, I don't have worked much on JavaScript. Actually, I'm not from Java background also. My programming background is from Python. So I have done a little bit web development with HTML, CSS, and Django frameworks.
No, Java is different, JavaScript is different.
Yes, yes, that I know, but like
Okay.
Apex is also similar to Java. That's why I was mentioning. So I
Okay.
haven't worked much on JavaScript also.
Okay, so from a backend perspective, it's good that you know Apex, Java, and other thing. But then since you have mentioned HTML, the expectation is you should know JavaScript as well. So
Okay, okay.
till you have 1 year time, right? So I would say just get started with JavaScript because it's like core, like it is equal to the Apex now because all your front end parts development are done by LWC. Maybe you might not have heard it, but then there are two types of development that you can do. One is LWC, that is Lightning Web Components, and the other one is ARA Components.
Yes, yes, I heard of it. I haven't just read much.
Okay, so that is where the JavaScript kinds of handle everything from a modern web development perspective. JavaScript kinds of handle your browser events. So to make your development very easier, JavaScript plays a major role. So let's say whatever the logic that you're performing in Apex can be transferred to JavaScript. So
Okay,
so it kinds of uplift you very much with respect to Salesforce profile that if you know JavaScript a
JavaScript.
bit.
Okay,
It's not very hard start from basic, but then target it for knowing the concepts of ES6. So just
what
search for
is it?
JavaScript ES6.
EF6.
Yeah, that's a name like a so ES6. Just type in JavaScript ES6. That's
Okay,
a
okay,
standard given for JavaScript.
okay.
So
I'll
target
do that.
yourself to learn like very basics of ES6. Like start with JavaScript and then you will get to know the other standards of JavaScript. Just a
Okay.
suggestion since you have mentioned HTML and CSS.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Any other questions or
I just wanted to know, like, apart from this, if any other thing is which I should pay focus on. Like, it was JavaScript and the governor limits and deployment models. Other than that, if anything is there.
yeah, have you heard of super batches?
Yes, I have done some also.
Okay, so I see in your resume that was not updated. So take off the number of badges and then put down the number of super batches you have. That gives you more value in your resume.
Okay, I was not aware of it. Actually, I have done some super batches. I'll mention it.
Okay, don't mention like just mention the number of super batches you have completed.
Okay,
And
okay,
anything if you are trying to learn, like everything is in the trailhead, so you're good to start over there. So
okay, sure.
yeah, all the best, and then it was a great
Oh,
session for me.
same. Thank you. Thank you.